Okay, once again, hope you have attempted the question and you would understand even better when I discuss here. So this question, have a look at it. Very easily, you know that it's a question about the petty cash. The petty cash. Have to be careful with questions for petty cash. Don't misunderstand the question. Certain questions, they may ask you how much to reimburse, how much is needed to reimburse, which also means how much to restore. Okay, or I call it the top up. Okay, how much to top up so that it reaches the impressed amount again. The other kind of question is about asking you how much is still left, how much is still left in the petty cash, the leftover. Okay, so these two are the types of questions that may appear in the exam. Okay, the possible type of questions. And many students, they confuse between these two. They didn't read properly. When they ask for how much to restore, they go answer with how much is left. Okay, they misunderstood the question. Okay, Shamin, this is page number 7. The other day we discussed until this page. It is still the paper 1. Okay, paper 1. Those PDF that I sent to the email of all of you. Okay, let me get back to here. Okay. What amount will be required to restore the impress on 30th September? Okay, you may notice that most of the time they ask you to restore at the beginning of the month, but it depends on the individual business. There's no hard and fast rule here. Okay, so a business keeps a petty cash book with an impressed amount of 300. What does it mean? Impressed of 300? The business will try to every time it restores, every time the business restores, the business will ensure that it is at $300. Okay, that's the maximum amount you would have in the petty cash. During September, following transactions take place. Impress restored on 1st September. Okay. When you see the word restored, it should have gotten back to 300. Okay. On 1st of September, your petty cash will be at 300 after the restore of the 100. Why restore 100? Probably all the while they have been spending the petty cash and the total is 100. So they restore with 100. However much you have spent is however much you restore. How much you have spent is how much you will restore. Petty cash drawn from bank on 15 September. Petty cash drawn from bank. Okay. You see, this is a bit special here. Yeah, you have to understand where they put the petty cash in the business, where they store the petty cash in the business. Firstly, let's understand petty cash drawn. Petty cash drawn means you have taken some petty cash to use. You have taken some petty cash to use in the business. Okay, this is not drawings, okay? Not drawings. For drawings, you have to watch out for the words like private, personal, domestic use, family use. Okay, but here there's none of that words. That's why this is not drawings here. Okay, don't misunderstand this as drawings. Okay, so petty cash drawn basically means you spend petty cash. Okay, you spend petty cash in the business. And then you have two words here from bank. Okay, so how does it relate to bank? How does it relate to bank? In fact, here is trying to tell you that the way the business stores the petty cash is by opening one more extra bank account. Okay, don't confuse this with the normal bank account. Okay, you could have cash account, right? You could have a cash account where you have a lot of cash. You can have a bank account where you have money in the business bank account. Okay, this is the main business bank account. Think of it as the main business bank account. And here, the question is special. Even for petty cash, they put into a separate bank account. They put into a separate bank account. But in our accounting, we still write it as petty cash. Okay, it's still a petty cash account. But they put this into a separate bank account. Okay, they put this into a bank, maybe for safety purposes or anything. Okay, so that's what they have here. They spend the petty cash, 150. Okay, if you don't want to get confused, just ignore the term from bank. Okay, focus on petty cash drawn, which means spending the petty cash. Maybe you let me check for this one again. Okay, I am not too sure either. Okay, because it sounds quite confusing here. Petty cash drawn from cash. Because after I've looked at the next line, expenses paid from petty cash, this is about spending. Okay, and I don't think that they will have another figure here, 150 for spending. Okay, so let's put it aside first. Let me check again. Hold on, yeah. Answer is which one? I forgot it. Okay, so we see the next one. Okay, I will remember to check that question and then I get back to you. Okay, we look at this first. Which document would be sent by a customer to a supplier? This is easy, right? You must know which documents are sent by customer, which documents are sent by supplier. Supplier send this. So this is S to C. This is sent by supplier to customer. This is sent by supplier to customer. Answer is B. Okay, very obvious here. Very obvious here. Okay. Remember, these two documents, debit note and credit note, are involved in the goods returning process. The first one that should come out is debit note sent by the customer to the supplier. Another one is the credit note, okay, sent by the supplier to the customer. Okay, more on this, look at the part 4. Everything is stated in detail in part 4. We see the next question. How much did Yusuf owe Wahid on 31st March? Okay. Sounds like Yusuf is the customer, Wahid is the supplier. In March, Wahid had the following transaction with Yusuf, a new customer. Okay, yeah, that's correct. Yusuf is a customer. 4th of March, goods invoice to Yusuf. So it's going to make Yusuf owing money to Wahid. So you plus. Plus means owing more, okay? Credit note issue to Yusuf. So always remember, we record credit note, we don't record debit note. We don't record debit note, we record only credit note. So it's going to make Yusuf owing less because it's about goods returning. So minus goods invoice to Yusuf, same like the one on 4th of March. So plus Yusuf owe more again. Check received from Yusuf. That means Yusuf here make some payment to Wahid, making Yusuf owing less. Okay, so minus. Okay, so do the plus and minus here, the addition and deduction, you will get the final answer easily. Let me try. Answer is 3,000. Okay, so simple question, yeah, simple question. All the questions in this handout, they are from the past exam papers. Okay, so there are questions that are relevant with the exam standard. Okay, so answer is 3,000. Okay, so 10 seconds, and then I move on to the next question. Okay, next. Which document are used to write up the sale return journal? You must remember all the 7 names of the 7 books of prime entry. You must remember the name of the 7 books of prime entry. And this is one of them, sale return journal. And whenever you have documents, you must record into books of prime entry first. That is always a must. When you use the sale returns, when you use the term sales returns, you must know who we are. We must be the supplier. Otherwise, you will not call it as sales returns. If we are the customer, if you are the customer, you will call the returns as purchases returns instead. Okay, so we are supplier here. So what document do we record? What document do we use to record returning? Must be credit note. Answer is either A or B. Okay. So we are supplier, right? So issue to customer. Answer is A. You cannot answer B because I know receive from supplier sounds right, but we are not customer here. If we are customer, then answer will be B. Then answer will be B. How I know it's credit note? Because we always record credit note. It cannot be invoice. Where do you record invoice? Invoice received from supplier means we are customer. Then we will record this in purchaser journal because we buy goods on credit. When there's invoice, it means buy goods on credit. Okay, I will record the D donkey into purchaser journal. C invoices issued to customer. That means we are supplier. We will record this in sales journal because we sell goods on credit. What about B? We call it as purchaser returns. So we will record this in purchaser return journal. So answer is A. Write up means record. Write up means record. Okay, write up means record. Yeah, so 7 seconds. Then we move on to the next question. Okay, ensure that you digest, really understand. Okay, because for sure I will not repeat these questions again. We still have many papers to discuss. Okay, after these papers that I have designed, then we will discuss the past exam papers by papers. So through doing the questions from time to time, I can touch a bit here and there of the subject for revision with you, okay? That is one of the ways to revise. Another way of revising is going through topic by topic, not through doing questions, okay? For that, you may have to do on your own. There are many things to do. There are many strategies to prepare for the subject, but I cannot do all with you, right? quite impossible. Now, we see the next one, yeah? What are the balances of carriage inward and carriage outward shown in the trial balance? How do you answer this kind of question? For trial balance question, you have to remember a table. Remember a table. Debit doesn't always mean an increase. Credit doesn't always mean an increase. Many students misunderstand that debit always means increase, credit always means drop. The fact is, you have to see what items you are looking at exactly. Then only you know debit is a debit. Sorry, debit is an increase or drop, and debit and credit is an increase or drop. You have to see what item you are looking at. The debit means an increase for assets, expenses, and drawings. Okay, this is something designed by the inventor of accounting. Okay, try not to ask me why assets means an increase on the debit side. It's always like that. Okay, you can think of it like what you learned in mathematics when you were in kindergarten. Why this is plus? Can you explain why this is plus? Can you explain to me why this is multiply? Why this is minus? Okay, no, there's no explanation to this, right? Maybe if you study the history, you study the history of mathematics, maybe you can get the reasons. But I've not studied that before though. Okay, so it's something like that here. You have to memorize. There's some things that you have to memorize. Okay, on another hand, credit means an increase for liabilities, incomes, and capital account. Okay, so here what is the answer? Carriage inward is an expense, carriage outward is also an expense. We have to pay for them. So answer is C. Answer is C. Okay, don't think that carriage inward is not an expense, okay? Even though it appears in the income statement, cost of sales section there. Remember, the carriage inward appears in the cost of sales section there, in the income statement, but carriage outward appears at the expenses section of the income statement. Okay, so carriage inward is actually still an expense, but it's an expense related to the goods. That's why it's in the cost of sales section there. Okay, you can understand the expenses section as the other expenses section instead. Okay, if you don't want to get confused. Okay, yeah, so answer is C. You remember, you know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about the part 2. I just want you to understand that even though carriage inward is here, okay, carriage inward is here, it's still an expense actually. Is a spending. The same goes to purchases. These are all spendings, okay, purchases, carriage inward. But since they are related to the goods, so it appears in the trading section. You know what is trading section? First part of the income statement is trading section. Okay, this is trading section. Yeah, and then you can think of this part as other expenses section. Okay, think of it as other expenses section, but without the word other here. Why there's no other? That's why there's no word other here. I do not know. Okay, that's the way it has been. Okay, so just less expenses, but from deep down in your heart, you must know this is other expenses. Yeah. We see this question. Next question. Which account could appear in either the debit or credit column of a trial balance? Okay, sounds strange, but possible. Answer is B. Answer is B. You see, when you are looking at a trial balance, I know bank is an asset. Bank is an asset, but it can become a bank overdraft as well. Agree? When it has become a negative balance, it would become a bank overdraft. Bank overdraft is a current liability. So for liability, it appears in the credit column in the trial balance. When it gets back to positive balance, it will become an asset, okay, current asset. It will be in the debit column. Okay, I don't mean that it appears both as debit, a number in the debit column and a number in the credit column. Okay, it's either a positive balance or a negative balance, but they don't appear at the same time for sure. So they say either, right? Okay, so when your bank account has money, when your bank account has some money in it, then it's a debit balance. When it becomes an overdraft status, when it has turned into an overdraft status, which means you have over withdrawn your money, it's a bank overdraft. It will appear as a credit column. It will appear as a number in the credit column. Okay, so answer is B. The rest cannot be. Okay, bank is the only thing that can be either in the debit or credit column. Okay, you must remember only bank. Bad debts is an expense. Expense should be in the debit column. Drawings, according to the table, debit column. Sales is an income, is in the credit column, but they would never be on the other side. Yeah, so answer is B. Okay, 5 seconds before we move on to the next one. Okay, next question. Which error caused this? Which error caused this? Totals of the trial balance did not agree. Okay, so why would a trial balance not agree? You must have done a debit entry, but without doing any credit entry. You have not done any credit entry. Or the other way around, you have not done any debit entry, but you have done a credit entry. Or you have done both debit and credit entry, but amount are different. One is 51, another is 500. Okay, so either one of these 3 situations. Okay, you could have done debit without doing credit, or you have done credit without doing any debit, or you have done both, but amounts are not the same. These situations would make the trial balance to become imbalanced. So you have to read one by one. There's no shortcut here. Okay, when you have read the A, when you have read the option A, if you think that that's the answer, don't go and circle first. Always play safe here. read all the options, ensure that others are not the answers also. This is exam technique, okay, to increase your level of care, okay, and caution. A check paid to Hong for 500. Okay, you remember what I did? What I usually do? When I see the term had been, I stop reading here. I determine what is correct to be done first. Check paid to Hong, credit bank, debit Hong. This is what they should do. Then we see what they did. Then we compare. Credited to Hang account. Credited to the account of Hang. Okay. You see, you must always know what you have to assume, what you should not assume. But you have to practice a lot of questions, then only you know what to do. Okay, what you have to assume here. For cash book, you have cash account and bank account, right? When they have not mentioned anything about the cash book, you have to assume that their cash book is correct. But sometimes they will tell you that the cash book has no problem. Okay, so here, this option A, they have not told you anything about cash book, right? So you have to assume that the cash book has no problem, which means the credit entry is correct. They have credited bank. Okay, you have to assume that they have credited bank. And after crediting bank, they also credited Hang. They also credited Hang account. So what do you see here? They have done 2 times of credit. What about the account of Hong? The account of Hong, have they touched the account Hong? No, they have not touched. Okay, because when they have touched the Hang account, they should have not touched the Hong account. Okay, so logically, they would have not touched the Hong account. So A is the answer because they have done 2 times of credit. That's why A is the answer. So to ensure that others are not the answers, we have to read also. B, invoice for goods purchased. That means we buy goods, we receive the invoice because it says goods purchased. We buy goods on credit, so we receive invoice. 50 was entered in the purchaser's journal. Okay. See, purchaser journal is a book of prime entry, one of the 7 books of prime entry. You have to understand how it works very well. Otherwise, you may have chosen B. This is how it works. Let's say the invoice you receive on today, which is 17th of October. Okay, 17th of October. So you will write the name of the supplier. Okay, that's what you have on page 49 of part 4. Page 49 of part 4, you have this. So you will write, so it says that recorded as 500, right? So you write 500 here. On the same day as October 17, you will transfer this to supplier's account debit side. That's what you would do on October 17. Okay, and then at the end of the month, you will total up the purchases journal. We always total them up at the end of the month. The same goes to sales journal, purchase journal, and purchase return journal. So you will total up, let's say, throughout the month, let's say there are other purchases on credit. Let's say there is another one, 200 on the 20th, and then this is supplier 2. Okay, and then at the end of the month, you will write 700 here. Then here you write 31st. Here you will write total for the month. On the same day as this October 31st, you will transfer this to purchases account credit side. Okay, let me complete it, okay, to let you have a good picture. On the 20th, what I will do? On the 20th, I will transfer the 200 to the supplier 2 account, 200. Yeah, that's what I will do on the 20th. Okay, so now you can see how we complete the double entries. On the 17th and 20th, I will do the debit entries first. Okay, to the supplier and supplier 2 account. And on the last day of the month, I will complete the credit entries. Okay, that's how purchase journal works. Now you look at the option B again. Was entered in the purchaser journal as 500. So you think of it as the 500 here. Okay, so you record into purchaser journal as 500, and then consequently, it will be brought to the supplier account, debit side 500. And when you total up at the end of the month, the 500 is included in the 700 as well. It's brought to the purchaser's account. And the 500 is inside the 700 also. The 500 is inside the 700 also. So what do you think? The double entries are complete with the 500. Okay, even though 500 is wrong, but we can say that you have debited and credited with the same amount 500. That's why B will not affect the trial balance. You get it? Okay, because I've done the debit entry with 500 and then the credit entry with 500 as well. That's why B is not the answer. Trial balance would balance. Okay, Crystal, let me explain to you again. Trial balance would still balance with the error B. Let me open up another page to explain. Go on, yeah, opening. You have to understand the timing very well, how you work with the purchaser journal. Okay, now let me explain purchaser journal again. Purchaser journal is a book of prime entry. You use it to record buying goods on credit. You use it to record buying goods on credit. So let's say today you bought some goods on credit. You will write 2021 here, October 17. Then you will write the name of the supplier, maybe Ali. Okay, now I write the real name, okay, the real name. Ali is our supplier. We bought goods on credit from Ali. Let's say 500. Okay, on the same day as 17th of October, I will transfer this figure to Ali account, debit side 500. Then I will write purchases here. And the date is October 17. Okay, I did all this on October 17. Okay, now, after that, let's say there is another buying goods on credit throughout October. Let's say on the 20th, I bought goods on, I buy goods on credit again from Abu. Abu is also our supplier. Let's say the amount is 200. On the same day as 20th, I will transfer this figure to Abu's account, debit side. Then I will write purchases here. Then I will write the same day, October 20th. It's all done on the same day. Okay, so can you see? So far, I have done only debit entries. I have not done any credit entries. When would I do the credit entries? At the end of the month. So at the end of the month, we will total it up, 700. Then here I will write total for the month. And then the last day of the month. And then I will bring this figure to the purchases account, credit side. Here I will write total for the month. Okay. And then the day is 31st, okay? 31st. So that's how purchase return journal work. Would the trial balance be balanced? Even though the question told you what? The question option B told you what? Question option B told you the invoice for goods purchased 50, the correct amount is 50, was entered in the purchaser journal as 500. That means this is supposed to be 50. The correct amount is 50, but you recorded in the purchaser journal as 500. And consequently, you would bring this wrong amount to the T accounts, right? So this is wrong. This should be 50. And this is also wrong because inside the 700, you have the wrong figure 500 in there. Okay, so would the trial balance still be balanced? Answer is yes. There are two types of errors. Errors that would affect the trial balance and errors that would not affect the trial balance. And here, the error doesn't affect the trial balance because we have done the debit entry with the same amount, 700. We have done the credit entry with the same amount, 700. So trial balance will still be balanced. This is an error that would not affect the trial balance. Oh, okay. One of you asked me why debit supplier, why credit side of purchases account? Oh, I make a mistake, correct? Yeah. Anyone notice? It should be the other way around. Just now I explained with, oh, I've been making mistakes. I should credit supplier, debit purchases. Yeah, Isin, you are right. Okay, I overlooked the other way around. I thought I'm doing sales journal here. Okay, so everyone aware? I should bring it to here. I should bring it to here based on the type and risk we learned. Yeah. So, but my point here is about this error would not affect the trial balance. Okay. C. Goods sold on credit to Gamma were debited to the account of Gina. Okay. So goods on credit. So goods on credit. Debit Gamma. They are supposed to debit Gamma and then credit sales, right? They are supposed to debit Gamma and credit sales. But what did they do? They debited Gina account. They debited Gina account. So since they have touched Gina account, we should assume that they have not touched Gamma account. They must have not touched Gamma account. And we have to assume that they have credited sales. We have to assume that they have credited sales. Okay, so instead of debiting Gamma, they debited Gina. Would it affect the trial balance? No, because they still have finished both debit and credit entry with the same amount. Okay, they have debited Gina, credited sales, so trial balance will still look perfect. Okay, so C is not the answer. Last one. Rent paid by check 500. Okay. When you pay rent with check, you will credit bank, then you will debit rent. Agree? Okay. Then only you compare with what they did. Was debited to the rent receivable account. Should this account appear? No. Okay. They should debit rent account instead. Okay. Don't ever think that rent and rent receivable account are a combined account. Okay. One is income, another expense. They are separate accounts. So what you have to assume here, you have to assume that they have credited bank. You have to assume that they have credited bank. Instead of debiting rent, they debited rent receivable account. But would the trial balance still be balanced? Yes, the trial balance will still balance. Okay, because it's an error that will not affect the trial balance. They have done both debit and credit entry with the same amount. That's why D is not the answer. Name of these errors. Okay. Okay, good idea. Okay, so let's talk about the names of errors. I'll let you try first, then you let me, then I will tell you, okay? So, but there are some errors here that doesn't have name. Let me choose those that have names. Hold on, yeah, let me choose. Okay, everyone, you now answer for me. For the option C, you try, what is the name of this error? Then I'll tell you whether it's right or wrong. I'll tell you the answer. Okay, begin. I give you 20 seconds. 30 lah, okay, 30 seconds. If you have forgotten, please refer to the notes. If you can remember, then you test yourself. What is the name of the error C? Okay, now you begin. I start the timer. Okay, good suggestions, Ishin. Okay, so let's revise a bit on naming. Okay, I can see one correct answer from one of you. Okay, the rest continue to try. I see another correct answer. Nobody has answered wrongly so far. The rest of you, please try, please try. It's okay to be wrong. Don't be a perfectionist. I think one of the reasons is you couldn't recall the name of the error. That's why you don't have any options in your mind to choose from. Okay. No, I'm asking all of you for the C. C, option C. Later, I will go to the B. The option C, what is the name of the error? Okay. Answer is error of commission. Error of commission. For the C, goods sold on credit to Gamma. What they should have done, they should have credit sales, debit Gamma. Okay, but what they did, they debited to account of Gina, which means they have debited Gina, and we have to assume that they credited sales. Okay, remember error of commission? When both the wrong and correct account belong to the same category, when both the wrong and correct account belong to the same category, we say that is an error of commission. If they belong to different category, we call it as error of principle. Okay, if they belong to different categories, we call them as error of principle. Okay, so C is error of commission. Okay, error of commission. Okay, now, how do you remember? Okay, many students, they get confused between commission and principle, error of commission and error of principle. For me, this is how I remember. Commission, does it look like the word common? Yes, right, C-O-M-M-O-N. C-O-M-M-O-N. Common means what? Same. So, which can link you to same category. Okay, commission looks like the word common, which means same. So that's how you can link to same category. Okay, when both the wrong and correct account belong to the same category, that's error of commission. That's how I remember. Easy? Yes, okay. Commission looks like the word common. Okay, now one more. Everyone look at error B now. Error B, not oral B, okay? Error B. You tell me what is the name of the error B. Okay, now you begin. And then I will tell you right or wrong. Okay, I see 3 correct answers. Well done. I wait for the rest. Okay, I see 4 correct answers. Okay, Shermaine, Yixin, your choice. Okay, Yixin just now has answered. Okay. Answer is error of original entry. Error of original entry. Oh, yeah, too many things here. Let me erase some of the writing here. You must first know how does the name of error of original entry come about. Error of original entry, you must link it to books of prime entry. Books of prime entry synonym is book of original entry. Okay, look at part 4, I have the synonym there. Books of original entry means the same as book of prime entry. Okay, so now you can see how does the name of this error come about. It must mean that there's been some error inside your book of prime entry. There must have been some error inside your book of prime entry. Okay, so basically this error tells us when you record documents into book of prime entry, you pick up the wrong amount. Okay, let's say in the document, amount is written 1,000, but you record into the book of prime entry wrongly, you wrote 100 instead. Okay, lack of 10. So this is error of original entry. So answer is error of original entry for the B. Invoice is a document record into the book of prime entry purchase journal with the wrong amount, 500. Okay, well done everyone. This is original entry error. Last one. Okay, everyone look at the last one. Option D. Then tell me the name of this error. Then I will tell you whether it's right or wrong. Okay, you may begin. Okay, those who didn't try earlier, you have to try. Okay, 30 seconds. Okay, I see 5 correct. I see 4 correct answer. Okay, time's up. Everyone has tried. Now I tell you right or wrong. Okay, one of you got it wrong. The rest of you are correct. Error of principle is the other way around from error of commission. For error of principle, when both the wrong and correct account belong to different categories of items, then is an error of principle. Okay, now you see what they did here. You see what they did here. Rent paid by check, 500. This is the transaction. They should have credited bank and then debit rent account. This is what they should have done. But they say they debited to the rent receivable account. So instead of debiting rent, they debited rent receivable account. Then we have to assume that they credited bank. Okay, now observe the correct account is rent. This is an expense. The wrong account that they have chosen, is an income. Do they belong to the same category? Both the wrong and correct account? Different. So this is error of principle. Okay, this is error of principle. Yeah, so I think it's a good revision here. Okay, Matt, let's move on to the next question. Okay, how was this recorded in the books of business? In the books of the business? Trader purchased a motor vehicle for his business using a check from his personal bank account, using personal money. That means you are buying something for the business using personal money. This is known as investment. You should credit capital. Debit motor vehicle. Okay, so answer is D. Okay, nothing to discuss here. You should credit capital, debit motor vehicle. Okay, now let's see the next one. Which account always has a credit balance? Okay, for this one, we have to apply the table that I wrote for you just now. The table that I drew for you just now. Yeah, this table. So it's asking you which account always has a credit balance. Drawing should have a debit balance. Cash account should have a debit balance. Premises is an asset, also debit balance. So answer is A. Okay, capital always has a credit balance. Okay, now we see the next one. Where is the total of purchases journal posted? Just now I showed you where to post the total of purchase journal, right? I've shown to you how it works. In the purchases journal, at the end of the month, you will total up. But I show you to the wrong side, remember? It should be brought to the purchases account, debit side. Purchases account, debit side. So answer is D. Answer is D. Okay, it's asking you where to post the total to. Okay, it's from the part 4 that you learned. Okay, we see the next one. Where will this transaction be recorded in Khalid's books? That means we are Khalid. Next, find out we are supplier or customer. Amina return goods to Khalid. We must be the supplier. We are Khalid, we are supplier. Okay, when it comes to goods returning and we are the supplier, we call this as sale return. Okay, when we are the customer, we call it as purchase returns. Just now I told you earlier, right? So answer cannot be A, cannot be B, either C or D. You will record into the books of prime entry sale return journal. Then you will debit sale returns. You will credit Amina. Okay, basic tab entries that you learn. So answer is D. Answer is D. Okay, now we see the next one. You see, when you are doing questions for some topics focus, what I mean is you're not doing the questions that are made out of the whole subject, it will look easier. But when it comes to doing the past exam papers, where they combine all the questions from the whole subject, it may look a bit overwhelming to you. Okay, so but at the end of the day, you must be able to do so. Okay, in either paper you must be able to do. Okay, now we see this one. What was the total of the credit note issued by Nazneen? Who is Nazneen? By looking at this sentence, we know who is Nazneen because Nazneen issued the credit note. Nasdin is supplier. Okay, agree? Okay, supplier sends a credit note to the customer. Hasina buys radio from Nasdin. Hasina is our customer. We are Nasdin, okay? We are Nasdin. At the list price, $10 each. $10 is the original price. List price means original price before any discount. Hasina bought 12 radios and was offered 20% trade discount and 4% cash discount. 2 radios were 40 and returned to Nasdin. The key to answering such a question is to know when should you apply the trade discount and when you should apply the cash discount and when you should not apply the cash discount. Cash discount, you can only apply it when customer settle debt on time. When the customer settle debt on time, the question told you that they pay punctually on time, then you can apply the cash discount. But none of the words here tell you that Hasina has paid. It has not told you that Hasina has paid. Okay, and we are trying to decide what is the amount we need to be recorded in the credit note. Okay, how much will be stated in the credit note? That's what they are asking. So for cash discount, ignore it. Cash discount, ignore it because it's not useful here. For the 20% trade discount, you have to apply it. Okay, remember, I always tell you a story. One day I sold goods to you, then I give you 100% trade discount. Remember, I give you 100% trade discount, and then you took the goods and go back home without paying because it's free. 100% trade discount, right? 100% trade discount. I know it's not logical, but just example here. Few days later, you don't like your goods anymore. You return all back to me. You return all the goods back to me. When you return the goods back to me, do I have to refund you with money? Answer is of course no. When you bought from me, I give you 100% trade discount. You took the goods back home without paying me or owing me money because it's free, 100% trade discount. Few days later, when you return the goods back to me, I should not refund you also because I should also apply the same 100% trade discount. Sounds familiar? Okay, that's what I always tell my students. So lesson is don't forget to apply the trade discount because credit note tells you something about goods returning. You must apply the trade discount. Okay, it says 2 radios, right? 2 radios were 40, 2 radios. So only times 2, okay? You take the $10 first. $10 is per unit. You times 80%. Why times 80%? Because I want to remove the 20%. This is a shortcut, okay? If you want to times 20%, then only you minus. It's up to you. But here I times 80 times 2 units. 2 units. This is the amount that will be in the credit note. 10 times 80% times 2 units. Let's calculate. 16. Answer is B. Okay, this is a tricky question and very popular in the exam. Okay, it manages to trick many students. Okay, because students would always think that the 4% is useful here. Yeah, so 10 seconds. Then I move on to the next question. Okay, make sure you digest this question. Okay, seems like you are okay. We move on to the next page. Okay, this one, owner's equity. Owner's equity, it means the same as capital. It means the same as capital. And not too sure if you remember how we construct the accounting equation. A equal to C plus L. Okay, firstly, you try to observe what you have here. You have NCA, CA, CL, and NCL. So let's expand the A to become NCA plus CA. And C is the owner's capital. Sorry, the owner's equity plus liability. NCL plus CL. Okay, you see how I transform the formula? Agree? Okay. A becomes NCA and CA. L becomes NCL plus CL. What are we looking for? We are looking for the C. So easy? Yes. Just do like simple mathematics here. Move the numbers to the left, the NCL and CL to become negative number. Answer is negative, negative. All the assets remain positive. So answer is A. Okay, simple question here. Just have to know, you have to link it to the accounting equation. Okay, so 10 seconds, then you move on to the next one. Okay, next. Which statement is correct? Which one is correct? Okay, whenever you are given a person's account, you need to observe very carefully who is this person. Okay, whether this person who is our customer or our supplier. Who are we? Following account appears in the ledger of Chan. So we are Chan here. Okay, we are Chan here. Which is me. Okay, I'm Chan here. So who is Fu to us? You have to observe the entries in the account. Okay, I've taught you to do so before. One question that appears in the part 3, I've taught you how to observe. Okay, whether Fu is a customer or supplier to us. So what would make you do this entry? What we are doing here is we are debiting purchases, crediting Fu. What would make you do this entry? Debit purchases and credit Fu. When we buy goods on credit, we will record this. So Fu is our supplier. Okay, Fu is our supplier. Okay, that means we are customer here. After you have established who is customer, who is supplier, answering this question would be easy. Okay, so Crystal, you see how I determine that who is our supplier, not our customer. You look at this entry, we are debiting purchases and crediting Fu account. So which means we buy goods on credit. Okay, so we are the customer, Fu is our supplier. Okay, now you can see which one is correct. This is a very popular question in the exam. Okay, must know how to observe whether somebody's account is our supplier or our customer. Must be able to observe. Which one is correct? 1st August, what happened? 1st August means this day. Chan is owed by 100 by Fu. No, Fu is supplier. How can supplier owe money to Chan, right? So answer is not A. Okay, 12th August, okay, which is this one? Fu purchase goods 250 from Chan. No, Fu is supplier again. Must remind yourself Fu is supplier. Okay, so B is wrong. August 28, Chan paid Fu 100 by check. This is correct. Okay, because we are Chan here, we credit bank, then we debit Fu. So answer is C. Okay. Don't be so quick to get to the next question. Okay. Observe all the options here. August 31st, Fu is a debtor of Chan, which means Fu owes Chan money. Okay, it's a debtor of Chan means Fu owes Chan's money, which is wrong again because that's not what happened. Okay, Fu is supplier, so answer is C. Okay, answer is C. Yeah, so 5 seconds, then I move on to the next question. I think we have one more to go before we go to the part 2. Not the part 2, the paper 2. Okay, yeah, seems like you're fine. Next. Okay, oh, no more. Okay, good. So we have discussed all the 35 questions. Okay, so if you find that you still do not understand some of the things here and there, or you find that you have made a lot of mistakes, please redo it over and over again and ensure that you can get all correct. These are the basic things from part 1 to part 5. If you cannot do all correctly, I don't mean that you cannot make mistake. Maybe you can score at least 30 marks, score at least 30 marks out of 35, then you are considered okay for the foundation topics. Foundation topics are important because they are linked to many things you learn in later, right? You have learned the whole subject, you should know. Many things you learn later are linked to the foundation. So ensure that you get at least 30. Otherwise, please redo over and over again. Okay, ready? Okay, now we move on to the paper 2. We are done discussing the paper 1 for the part 1 to 5 test. Hold on, yeah, still saving. Okay, now paper 2. Okay, this one. Ensure that you have all the files downloaded, okay? Because once in a while, I may clean up the Google Drive. I may clean up the Google Drive due to space limitation. Okay, now have a look at this. So again, this is a paper I compile myself. Okay, there are 100 marks. There are 100 marks to score, just like the official papers published by Cambridge. Part 1 to 5 test. Okay, 1 hour and 45 minutes. For paper 2, ensure that you spend 1 minute for every point. Okay, spend 1 minute for every point. Every point you are trying to score, spend no more than 1 minute. Otherwise, you will run out of time. Okay, you can do the calculation yourself. You would get the same result. Okay, you should spend no more than 1 minute for every point you're trying to score. So here is a 4-mark question, which means you should spend no more than 4 minutes to do this question. Get the idea? Okay. For the first few times you are attempting, you will take longer time maybe, because you are not familiar enough. When you have revised the whole subject and you have become very familiar, then you will do faster for sure. Okay. So one of the reasons students are doing slower than average is because they have not revised the topics enough. Okay, they are not confident in their answers, so they do slowly. Okay, that's the reason. For paper 1, 35 questions, right? 35 MCQ. Spend no more than 2 minutes per question. Okay, 2 minutes per question. Now have a look at this question. Using tick, determine which entry, either a debit or credit entry, would result in an increase for each of the following. First one has been done as an example. How to answer this? Use the table that I drew for you just now. So capital, credit entry means an increase. These two are expenses, debit entry, asset, debit entry. Such a question, please don't make mistake. Is your biggest opportunity for you to get easy marks, really. Okay. So done. Okay. So this is based on the table that you learned. Okay, a very lengthy question, super lengthy question. I try my best to show you the best view of my screen. Maybe I put it side by side. Okay, so this question asks you to do an income statement, an SOFP. I know it's easy to do, but let's do it together once again. I've not done this question with you for some time. The last time I did it with you was maybe when we were doing the part 2. Okay, let's do this. Now, let me copy and paste one more of the file so that I can do it with you together. I can show you side by side. Hold on, yeah. Okay. You must do an income statement perfectly. Okay, I mean the positioning of numbers, items, you must put them into the correct categories because it's something basic. Okay, it's something basic. In the exam, it's not as simple as just putting together a puzzle, you know, right? Sometimes they will give you additional info and you have to do some plus and minus here and there before you can get the numbers you need to be in the income statement. So positioning numbers, putting together a puzzle is just a simple thing to do here. Okay, must master. Okay, so on the right hand side is the answer. Left hand side we have the question. Let me zoom in further. Okay, I think this is the best view for you. Okay. Now, they're asking you to do an income statement and also do an SOFP. Remember the rules that I taught you, the exam techniques. Whenever you have used any number, please cross them off. You will appreciate what you did earlier, okay, when you are near the end of completing the question. If you cross off any numbers that you have used, you will become more efficient as you go through doing the question. Okay, you will do faster when you cross off numbers that you have used. If you have not been crossing off numbers since the beginning, you keep the question as clean as it was at the beginning, it would be difficult for you to pick up numbers, to be honest. It's very difficult for you to pick up numbers if you don't cross off or cancel off numbers that you have used. Okay, so one exam technique, please cross off the numbers that you have used. Second exam technique, please use ruler. Please use two rulers. Yeah, please have two rulers in your hand. One ruler, place it here to ensure that you will pick up the correct number. Many students, they may make the mistakes of having parallax error. When they try to pick up purchases, they may overlook and they pick 3410. When they try to pick up insurance, maybe they overlook. They try to pick up 3700. Because in the exam, sometimes your head will turn to the left, sometimes you turn to the right, right? When you are intense in the exam, you will turn your head, you will turn your head left and forth, left and right, okay? And it keeps repeating. And when you look at the questions landed, you will have parallax error, you pick up the wrong numbers. I believe many of the students, they have experienced this before. So to ensure that you pick up the right numbers, please place a ruler on the question paper. Alternatively, if you don't want to bring two rulers, then please do something like what I'm doing here. Draw the lines so that you can see the clear separation. Okay, that means you put it into sections. It would make you easily pick up the numbers that you need. Agree? Okay, so draw lines like this is also another option. Okay, so that you can pick up the right numbers. Okay, so first rule, cancel off numbers that you have used. Second rule, must know what numbers you are taking. Okay, by drawing the lines here, I think it can solve the problem. Third rule is you try to classify first. Classify the items in advance. Okay, where each item should go. Okay, now let's start. First one, you have inventory at 1st October 2008. This is opening inventory. Okay, how do I know? Because year end is 30th September. And then, so this should appear in the income statement. Okay, opening inventory, cost of sales section. Carriage outward in the income statement, expenses section. Income statement, cost of sales section. Of course, you will not understand what I'm doing here or you get confused. It's because you are not familiar with the income statement format. Okay, so try to catch up as early as possible. You are only a few months away from finishing 2021, and then a few months later, you'll be in the exam hall. Okay, so try to catch up now. Otherwise, you will have to make a decision whether you should drop the subject or not a few months later when you are trying to register for the exam. Many students, they catch up too late that at the point of registering for the exam, they have to decide whether to drop the subject or not. They say it's too much to handle. It's not too much. It's because they prepare too late. Okay, hold on, yeah. Let me charge my laptop. Okay, so please catch up as early as possible if you feel that you have problem with the subject right now. Okay, you are not far away from the exam. Okay, sales returns, income statement, second item in the income statement. So I will write 2ND here. Purchases returns, income statement, cost of sales section. Purchases, income statement, cost of sales section. I do it quickly, yeah. You should know what to do with this. First item, sales and salaries and wages, income statement, expenses section. Warehouse rent, rent is an expense. Okay. If you are quick in observing, you can also do something like this. I can see that all these are expenses. All the way until general expenses, these are all expenses. Okay, so put an E here because there are expenses that appear in the income statement. Premises, NCA, that appears in the SOFP. Same goes to these two, NCA. This is current asset, current liability. And always be careful with the bank in the exam. Always be careful with the bank in the exam. You have to see whether it's in the debit or credit column. If the number is in the credit column, it's a bank overdraft. They don't have to write the word overdraft to tell you that it's a bank overdraft. Okay, that's a common mistake in the exam. Let me repeat, yeah. If the figure appears on the credit column, in the credit column, then it's a bank overdraft. It will be a current liability. They don't have to write the word overdraft to tell you that it's a bank overdraft. Okay, so be careful. It's more important even in the future if you happen to do accounting. So here is in the debit column, the normal one, okay, the normal balance. So current asset, you have money in the bank. Drawings, single word drawings, don't put it into income statement. Single word drawings appears in the SOFP capital section. Only if you see drawings of goods, then you put it into the income statement. Okay, now capital. Yeah, so Crystal, that's the common mistake. Okay, I know the common mistakes of all the students. Okay, because I've seen enough students to know what you would normally do mistakes for. Okay, capital. Whenever you see the capital here, it's always opening. It's never the closing capital. Okay, this is opening capital in the SOFP. What is the common mistake made by students? They think that opening capital means the opening inventory in the income statement. So a few students may put this into the income statement as the opening inventory. They think because of the word opening and closing, they think they must be the same thing since they have the word opening. So I think opening capital is opening inventory. No, different, okay? So this is opening capital appears in the SOIP. And always don't forget about numbers that appear outside the list. You must read the whole question, okay? Be observant and read every line. Okay, every line is here for a purpose. Inventory at 30th September 2009. This is closing inventory. Where does closing inventory appear? Crystal, it is drawings of goods that will appear in the income statement. Okay, we minus from the purchases. Drawings of goods. You must see that drawings of goods. Single word drawings, throw it into the SOFP. Okay, look at this one, closing inventory. This figure, be careful. It is this figure that you have to use 2 times. You have to use this figure 2 times. First time, use it in the income statement, cost of sales section. Second time you use it, show it in the SOFP for current assets. Now you could be having a question. Why not the opening inventory? Why don't we show the opening inventory in the SOFP? Because we always prepare the SOFP at the year end. Okay, SOFP is prepared at the year end, 30th September 2009. So you must show the inventory on that day. Okay, so it is the closing inventory that appears on that day. Okay, so this figure, remember, use it 2 times. 1 time in the income statement, another time in the SOFP. Yeah, not sure if you remember. This is what you did when you were doing part 2 with me. Okay, now let's start to do the income statement. If you have done the paper before, then you just see as revision here. Okay, you can do it with me. Now let's do the income statement together. Now observe. What item do I need first? Sales. Look for sales. Okay, I saw the sales 380,400. 380,400. Okay, then write sales here. Once you have used it, make sure you cross it off. You will thank yourself later when you are near the end of completing the question. Really. Okay. Now, next one will be sale returns. See if you have sale returns. Yes, I see that. Okay, so you have to quick pick it. You have to quick in observing the items here. Okay, be careful with height level of K, and yeah, and then you pick the number. 1540 less sale returns. I write in short form, yeah. Okay, because I want to save time here. Okay, then draw a line. Then you can calculate the net sales. The net sales. And don't forget numbers that you have to minus, put brackets around it. Okay, this is known as net sales, but I'm not sure if your school teacher has taught you to write net sales or not. This term with or without, it doesn't really matter. But if you write it, it shows that you understand what you are doing. Okay, net sales 378860. Next will be what? Cost of sales section. So less cost of sales section. Begin with opening inventory. Where's opening inventory? First item, 416000. Okay, you may have a question. Should I write opening inventory or I copy the term written here? Inventory at 1st October 2008. Should I use the term given or I write opening inventory? For this one, up to you. Okay, it doesn't really matter much. So I think I write opening inventory. Okay. Now, purchases, look for purchases. Okay, how do I know what items to look for? Because I've done the question many times. Okay, the first few times you are attempting income statement, it could be slow because you're not familiar yet. But once you have done it for such a long time, you should be familiar. You should know what items to look for. Purchases, where is purchases? 188430. Can see? Okay. Next, look for purchases returns. Okay, I saw that. You see, the more numbers you have used, the easier would be in you picking up the next number. Okay, once you have used a lot of numbers, it would be much easier for you to pick up the next number you need. Purchases returns 3410. 3410 less. See if there's carriage inward. Something many students miss is also to include the carriage inward here. They don't remember that they have to put it here. So 370 should be here. Carriage inward. Carriage inward. Okay, now I can do the calculation for these three numbers and put on the right. Okay. Now then you draw a line. Sorry, don't draw a line, don't have to. Okay, now you see what you need next. Try to observe if you still need anything in the trading session. So now I'm looking at the checklist. Carriage outward, I use it later. Okay, these three numbers have been used. I will make a satay here. Okay, these two numbers I've used, I make a satay here. Okay. And then I see a lot of expenses. Okay, I think the only thing I need right now is the closing inventory. Okay, there's nothing else I need here. So 44780. Never think that the items arranged in the list would be in the order of what you need it to be in the income statement. Okay, the examiner is not that stupid. The examiner would always will make a mess in the items here. Okay, they won't arrange it in order in the way you want. Okay, you have to pick up numbers you need in the correct order. So closing inventory less 44780. Draw a line. Okay, now we have found the cost of sales. You must know what we are doing here. Okay, we are trying to find the cost of sales. by doing the calculation of opening inventory all the way down to closing inventory. $185,540. This is known as cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold means the same as cost of sales. Okay, cost of goods sold means the same as cost of sales. But when we are writing the heading, we use cost of sales. When we have arrived at the correct number, we use cost of goods sold. Okay, but you must know they mean the same thing. Okay, now what to do next? Find gross profit. Many students, they would forget to calculate the gross profit because they say gross profit is not given in the question. Of course, gross profit is something we calculate ourselves. Okay, don't try to find the gross profit yourself in the question. Okay, now calculate. Do the deduction. Take the net sales. Sorry. Then minus the cost of goods sold. 193320. 193320. Okay, about the order, later I tell you. Cost of goods sold is the figure that we calculated ourselves. Cost of goods sold means the same as cost of sales. Yeah, you have to put cost of goods sold there. But for GSE accounting, I don't think it matters. Whether you have the term cost of goods sold there, I think it doesn't matter. But in the future, if you happen to do accounting, that matters a lot, really. Okay, so I think it's better to get used to this right now. In case in the future you touch accounting subject, then you know you have to put cost of goods sold here. Okay, for now, if you don't want to put this here, sorry, if you don't want to put this here, up to you. Okay. Okay, and then one of you asked me about the order. All of you are aware how I get the cost of goods sold. Take this plus this minus closing inventory. Then I put it here. Okay, take opening inventory plus the 188,720 minus 44780. And about the order, yes, the order matters a lot here. You must start with opening inventory first. But the three items here, order doesn't matter. Okay, the order doesn't matter among these three items, but I think purchases should come first. You see, you should have purchases, then only you minus purchase returns, right? So I think still matters. Okay, but let me tell you what is the flexibility you can have here. Flexibility you can have here is with the carriage inward. You can put it before purchases or you put it after the purchase returns, up to you. This one is up to you. But opening inventory must start first as the first item. Then, of course, purchase returns must come after purchases. Closing inventory must be the last one. That's the correct order. That's the correct order. Okay, so conclusion is actually you don't have much flexibility here. You don't have much flexibility here. Okay, just follow, really. Okay, the trading section, you try to follow strictly. Okay, now we see. Do you have other income? Remember, after gross profit, sometimes you have other income. And I think that we don't have. Just now we read through the items. We didn't have any other income here. So just ignore. Now, should you write 0 for other income since you don't have it? Don't have to write 0. Okay, now let's have the next session. Less expenses. Must know the name of this section. This is known as profit or loss section. Upper part, trading section. Lower part, profit or loss section. Now pick up all the expenses and put in there. Okay, so many of them here I remember. Let me write the figure. I write in short form, okay, for the description. I want to save time here. Okay, make sure we pick up the correct number. Okay, so double check if I have taken all the expenses. Yes, I've taken all the expenses. Okay, you know what I was doing just now? I was observing the alphabet E that I wrote just now. Okay, if I don't see any alphabet E anymore, then that means I'm done. Okay, that's the benefit of classifying them in advance. So when you see a chain of numbers having been used, I will make a sate here to confirm that they have been used. Okay, that's my habit, but if you don't want to do so, then up to you. Because I can more easily observe what numbers I've used, okay, by double crossing them. Okay, now very obvious, the first part is already finished. Okay, I don't have many numbers left at the bottom here. No, no more expenses, right? Now I can finish off the income statement. Okay, draw a line here, total up all the expenses. $72017. Okay, then remember, next figure is what you have to get yourself, the profit for the year or loss for the year. Okay, take the gross profit minus this figure, 121303. This is known as profit for the year. Okay, finish. If you get negative number, that means it's loss for the year. Okay. So what to do next? Next will be to do the SOFP. Agree? Do the SOFP, statement of financial position. Okay, yeah. So I move on, yeah. Okay. Profit for the year 121303. Okay, begin with asset section. Asset section. So always start with NCA first. Don't start with current assets first. Okay, so non-current assets. Unless you tell me that the questions have not given you any NCA, then you don't have NCA. Okay, now pick up the NCA you have 92,000, 13400, 1900. What else? No, no more. Only three. Cross them off. Okay. Now you see the benefit of having cross off numbers you have used. Now you can see it because you don't have many numbers left. It will be much faster when you complete the rest of the question now. Agree? Okay. Okay. Not many numbers left. The words you write yourself. Okay. Very easy. Okay. Now total up. Total up. Total up the NCA. 107,300. After that, next section is current asset section. So look at all the CA. Trade receivables. I can see trade receivables 42560. Bank, I see bank 5160. 5106. Okay. Don't forget about closing inventory. Common mistake made by the students. They left out the inventory. You just have to write the word inventory will do. Okay, just have to write the word inventory here will do. Reason is whatever you are presenting here, they are all on 30th of September 2009. So when you have the inventory here, people would know that that is inventory on that day. Okay, you don't have to write the word closing. You don't have to write the word closing here. Okay, any more current asset? So the 44780, we have used it 2 times already. 44780. So you can remove it now. Okay, now is it easy to pick up the rest of the numbers? Super easy. Okay, so we have We have to total up the asset section first. Total up the asset section. No, before that, total up the current asset. Current asset. Current asset. 92460. 92446. 92446. Plus with the total NCA. 199746. Here, don't forget to write total assets. That's the correct formatting. Okay, must write total assets there. Crystal, just now I have explained, we don't show opening inventory here. All the things you show here are on 30th September 2009. Opening means inventory at the beginning of the year, but what all the things we are showing here are on the last day of the year. Opening inventory doesn't appear here. It appears in the income statement only. Okay, so this is closing inventory. Because we are showing everything on this day, 30th September 2009. Okay, so don't put opening inventory here. Now, the next section of SOFP, the capital and the liability section. So begin with the capital subheading, draw a line, then opening inventory, opening capital, or you write opening balance. Okay, you can write it as opening balance or opening capital. It's the same thing here. Balance means leftover, right? When it's under the subheading capital, they know that it's opening capital. Amount is 68843. 68843. Common mistake made by students, they forget to bring the profit for the year into here. They forget to bring the profit for the year into here. So look at the income statement again, bring the figure here. Profit for the year. 121303. 121303. Do you have drawings of goods here? No. Do you have additional capital here? No. No, sorry. You have drawings here, right? The single drawings appear here. I told you earlier. So less drawings, the single drawings appear here, minus from here. It reduces your capital. It reduces your investment. 22K. Okay. Is there any additional capital? I don't see any. So total up. I don't mean you plus all the way down. Okay. When I say total up, when you see the bracket, you have to minus. You have to minus 168146. This is the closing capital. Okay. Or you write closing balance here. One of you asked me, how do I know that this is opening capital but not additional capital? For additional capital, they always presented it in the additional info there. Okay. They always present it separately for additional capital. For sure, that is opening capital. It's always like that. The more questions you see, then you would know where they present the where they would present the additional capital. Okay, they will present it in the additional info. Okay, so that's opening capital. Now the liability section. You don't have NCL here, but you have current liability. So is that the last item, current liability? Yes, right, 31600. Have the subheading, current liabilities. Then you write trade payable here, 31600. I think this is very close to the amount we need, the 199746. You know what I'm trying to achieve? I'm trying to achieve this figure. Must be the same as this. Agree? Because A equal to C plus L. Can balance? Yes, I can balance. 199746. Here you write, don't forget to write total capital and liabilities. Finish. Okay. So what if you cannot balance it in the actual exam? Would you get 0 mark if you cannot balance the SOFP? Answer is no. You won't get 0 marks. If you cannot balance it, maybe it's due to one or two errors that you make in the question. Okay, so my point is, if you cannot balance it, don't try to see where you have made mistake and then try to balance it. Okay, because you have many other questions to do in the exam. This is exam technique. I'm telling you exam technique. Only if you have finished all other parts of the paper, that means you have gone through the whole paper one time already. And you know that for the SOIP, you have not balanced. Okay, only when you have time, then only you come back to here, you see where you make mistake, then you try to see how to balance it. If you have not done a lot of the questions in the whole exam paper, make sure you leave it as it is first if you cannot balance. You come back to here if you have extra time after you have finished other parts of the paper. Okay, because when you cannot balance it, most likely is just one or two mistakes that you have made earlier, okay, throughout the whole process. So don't worry so much, okay? You will not get 0 here if you cannot balance it. Okay, leave it first, do the whole exam paper. If you have time, then you come back to here and check. Okay, yeah, get that point? Okay, one of you asked me, let's say you forgot to put this profit for the year here. And then you have reached the last line here. How should you put the profit for the year in? And your handwriting is at the same time very big. Let's say I'm talking about something like this, okay? Let's say this is your handwriting, opening balance for capital. Then you write less drawings. Then you write closing balance. And then you forgot to put in the profit for the year in between. But you realize that you have to put it in when you are near the end of balancing. Should you go and erase? You don't have eraser. No, you don't have correction tape. You cannot bring correction tape. You cannot bring liquid paper. So what you should do, my advice to you is try to keep your handwriting having reasonable size. Okay, keep your handwriting having reasonable size. Try not to have handwritings that are too big in size, so that in case you make any mistakes, you can still do something like this. Maybe you draw an arrow here. Reasonable size means what? Not too big, not too small. Okay, have to judge yourself. Okay, words of reasonable size. Don't write too big. Don't write too small. Judge yourself. So if you want to squeeze in anything here, you maybe draw an arrow like this, then write properly. Okay, I think the examiner would accept. Okay, don't worry. So you write profit for the year. As long as you keep it tidy and nice looking, I don't think the examiners would mind. Okay, so good question from Wen Hui. So the strategy you have to have. Okay, in case you make any mistake, but you realize it after you have done a long way, then you squeeze it like what I do here. Okay, you can even do something like this. Let's say you have another current liability. You can write here bank overdraft. Let's say you have bank overdraft here. Okay, write properly bank overdraft, then write the figure here 990 maybe. Okay, so don't worry. Okay, the examiners would observe. If you write properly, they will forgive you. Okay, so that's it for this question. Next week, for sure, I won't do all the double entries here with you. Okay, next week, I'm just going to remind you how you do the double entries. Writing numbers first, then write the tail, then write the dates. I'm going to show you 1 to 3. Then the rest of them, I will send to you the answer. I'll send you the full answers. Okay, I'll just show you a few, and then I'll show you the full answers. So next week, we do a few transactions here, 1 to 3. And then, yeah, I hope that I can finish the whole paper 2 next week. Then we can move on to another set of paper 1 and paper 2. Okay, so that's it for today. Everyone, if you have no question, then we can say goodbye. See you next week at the same time. Bye, everyone. Bye.